If you've ever wanted to know how to play blackjack or 21, maybe you've seen it at a casino, or maybe you've even tried it, this video is for you. I'm gonna show you how the game works, how to play it well, and even how it can be beaten. Before we can talk about how to play, we need to start with the goal of the game, which in its simplest form is to beat the dealer. Unlike poker or some other games where you're playing against the other players, blackjack is played solely against the dealer. How do you beat the dealer? Basically, by getting closer to 21 than the dealer without going over 21. That's why the game is called 21. How do you lose? Either by going over 21, or if at the end of the round, the dealer is closer to 21 than you are without going over. Let's talk about the value of the cards. Right here we have a quarter of a deck, and with every card from 2 to 10, it's going to be its point value. So a 2 is worth 2 points, a 5 is worth 5 points, a 9 is worth 9 points, a 10 is worth 10 points. With the face cards, Jack, Queen, and King, they're also worth 10 points. Now an ace is going to be different. An ace can be a 1 or an 11 in blackjack. Let me show you an example. Let's say you're dealt this hand. You could count this as a 7 or a 17, whichever is better for you as the player. Let's say that you then have another card. This would be a 12 or a 22. Of course you don't want 22 because that's going to make you go over 21, so you would count it as a 12. Now let's talk about how the game is dealt. Each player and the dealer will be dealt one card and then a second card. Player 1 has a 17, player 2 has a 20, and the dealer has an 8 up. The players can make whatever decision they want to make, whether they take more cards or stay, whereas the dealer has to hit until they have a 17 or higher. In this situation, both of these players are going to stay, and the dealer has an 18. So player 2 is going to win their bet for being closer to 21 without going over. Player 1 is going to lose with their 17. There are typically 4 main playing decisions that you can make. The first would be to hit. So in this hand, we have a 7, and to hit is to tap the table, and now they've got a 17. The next decision you can make would be to stay. Here with a 17, you don't want any more cards because you don't want to go over 21, and so you would wave off the hand to stay. The next decision you could make would be to double down. To double down means that you want to double the amount of your bet in exchange for one more card. To do that, you're going to slide another bet next to your original bet and put one finger out, signifying one more card. The dealer will put one more card on top there, and they'll put it sideways to show that you can't take any more cards at this point. Another option, if your cards are of equal value, is to split them. To split them, you're going to place a second bet next to your original bet, and you're going to stick 2 fingers out and apart to say, I want 2 separate hands. The dealer's then going to separate it into 2 new hands of blackjack on which you get a card and you make a playing decision. In this situation, he's going to stay. On the second hand, he gets a 2. Now he has an 11, and in most casinos, they'll allow you to double down after a split. And so in this situation, he's going to double down for one more card, and now that hand is over. Want to see more examples and loads of other helpful content? Be sure to subscribe. All right, let's see what's going to happen here. It's the dealer's turn, and they flip over their whole card. They have 14, take another hit, 19. So this reveals the 3 outcomes that can happen after a dealer plays out their hand. The first would be if you lose. The dealer has 19, the player has 17. This player loses their money. This situation, the player has 21, which is better than 19 without going over, so they win. They're going to win 2 bets because they doubled down. This hand, it's a 19, which is the same as the dealer. This is going to be a push. That means you don't win or lose any money. And then this 18 is going to lose both of their double down bets. Let's play out another hand. Player 1 has a 12, player 2 has a 9, and the dealer has an 8 up. In this situation, player 1 decides to hit, but they got a 22, so they're going to lose right away. Player 2 hits into an 18, they're going to stay, and the dealer has 14, so they have to hit because they need to hit to 17 or over, and the dealer busts. So player 2 wins their bet. But wait, there's another way that you can win automatically, and that's by being dealt a blackjack, or what's sometimes called a natural. If your first 2 cards are an ace and any other 10 valued card, you win automatically, assuming the dealer doesn't also have a blackjack. What do you do when you're dealt a blackjack? Well, the first thing you do is you fist bump another player. Then you get paid automatically. And if it's any decent casino, they're gonna pay you 3-2. That means if you have 2 chips, you get paid 3. You get paid 150% of what you bet. Beware of casinos or tables offering 6-5 on blackjacks, or even worse, even money. Those casinos are trying to shortchange you and rip you off, and you don't want to play those tables. A big part of reducing the casino's advantage in blackjack comes from being paid 3-2 on a blackjack. And when they limit those payouts, it makes the games far worse. Now, what happens when the dealer has a blackjack? When the dealer has an ace or a 10 up as their up card, they will check to see if they have a blackjack. In this situation, they do, and the hand ends immediately. This player has a 13, and so they're gonna lose their bet right away. They don't even get a chance to hit. Player 2 has a blackjack, so they're going to push because they also have 21. This player has a 20, and they're gonna lose. So it doesn't matter how good your hand is, unless you can match the dealer's blackjack, you're going to lose that bet. There is one other scenario though that happens when the dealer has an ace up, and that's that they're going to offer you a chance to buy insurance on whether they have a blackjack or not. If you choose to play this, it's really a side bet to the game. You don't need to play it, and to be honest with you, it's generally best to never buy insurance. But if you do, you can put up to half of your bet on ensuring whether you think the dealer has a blackjack. If they don't have a blackjack, then you lose this insurance side bet. If the dealer does have a blackjack, then you will lose your bet unless you have a blackjack and push. And then this separate side bet gets paid out 2-1. Unless you're an expert card counter, it's best to never buy insurance ever. Some gamblers will say you should insure a good hand like this 20, but not a bad hand like this 13, but that's poor logic. A dealer having a blackjack is not impacted on the quality of your hand. It's a separate probability. If you want to play smart blackjack, never buy insurance. Or if you want to learn how to count cards, it will tell you exactly when you would want to buy insurance. There is potentially one other playing decision, but it's only offered at about 20% of casinos. However, it is really valuable if you know how to play it and they allow it, and that's called surrender. Let's say that you have this hand. You have a 16, which is a very poor hand for a player to have, and the dealer has a 10 up, which is a strong card for the dealer to have. In this situation, if they offer surrender, you can choose to forfeit half of your bet, and you do that by either saying surrender, or usually you slide your finger across the table. In that situation, you lose half of your bet, and the hand is over right away. Let's play out another hand. Player 1 has a 17, player 2 got a blackjack, and the dealer has an 8 up. So the blackjack is going to get paid automatically because we know the dealer doesn't have a blackjack, and they're getting 150% of their bet. Player 1 is going to stay, and the dealer has a 17 also, so this is going to be a push. No win or loss for that hand. When exactly should you hit, stand, double, split, or surrender? All of those decisions have been mathematically calculated for you in a chart called Basic Strategy, and we have a link below to our Basic Strategy video. Learning to play perfect Basic Strategy is one of the smartest things you can do as a new blackjack player to have a chance of beating the dealer. So you might be thinking, well, this sounds great. Follow Basic Strategy and beat the dealer. But it's not quite that simple. The casinos are no dummies, and they've designed the game in a way where they have the advantage against the players. And their advantage comes in 2 ways. The players have to act first, and this is the big one. Let's say you're dealt this scenario. You have a 12 and the dealer has a 10 up. The best decision you could make here is to hit, but you drew a bad card and you busted, so you lose automatically. Well, what if the dealer also would have busted? It doesn't matter. You had to play first, and so you lose whether you both bust or not because you play first. And that is a huge part of how the casino gets the advantage. Think of it this way. I win, I win. You lose, you lose. We both lose, the player still loses. The second reason casinos have the advantage over the player is players that don't play well. Now, playing perfect Basic Strategy will reduce the casino's advantage to 0.5%. That's half of 1%. But the reality is, most players in a casino don't play well, they don't follow Basic Strategy, and they're playing with more like a 2% disadvantage. Does that mean you're powerless in Blackjack? Not at all, and that's what Blackjack Apprenticeship is all about. For example, check out this video for 6 ways to win more at Blackjack.